morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm Ingram Jones, as you know. Got another feature here for you. I have with me, as you can see from the camera, Jason, the sensation Gavern, back on Bayloric TV. Jason, how you doing?
Yes, sir, Mr. Ingram, sir. Pleasure. Living a dream over here in Florida. Get ready actually for the hurricane. The hurricane's coming this weekend.
You're joking.
So,
The hurricane's coming.
that. Yeah, this weekend's actually supposed to be pretty bad. So we have the news going on, just seeing what's going on. Other than the grocery stores will be empty. There'll be no more food left. So,
right.
But yeah, we're supposed to get a pretty bad hurricane this weekend. So hopefully everything goes well.
But you're kind of used to the hurricanes, right?
Yeah, we get them here often, but we haven't had a serious hurricane probably since 2002. That they would probably had 10, 12, 14 days of no power, no anything. So people was out for a while, and yeah, that was the last serious hurricane. We've had a few little ones, but nothing serious. But this one they're expecting to be pretty bad, so just getting ready for it.
So how do you prepare for that?
It is what it is. I mean, we buy water, groceries, that type of stuff, but you can't go anywhere. We don't have basements here. They want you to go in a basement and hide, but there's not much of that here. So whatever, just get in the car and hopefully nothing will happen. I mean, we're not going to sit in the car, but maybe we'll drive up Pennsylvania or just get out of here for the weekend just to be safe.
So you won't stay in Florida. You'll get away from Florida.
I mean, it all depends on what happens. If it starts to get bad, I'd rather leave a few hours ahead of time. So if they give us a state of emergency, and the hurricane's actually coming, yeah, we might do something like that. But then again, I want to stay here because I don't want, if my house blows off, the roof blows off, people will be coming and stealing my stuff. So
you don't want that either, do you?
Yeah. So, but it's all about safety. At the end of the day, all the material stuff, nothing matters. It's about the wife and the kids, and make sure that's okay. But yeah, it'll be fun though. It's cool. I like weather. We get storms a lot of rain and thunder, pretty much on the normal every day here. So it's kind of cool when it rains, but when you're getting over 100-mile-an-hour winds and the trees are blowing over and stuff, that's scary. So.
Well, the last thing you want to be seeing is when you're in Pennsylvania looking on the TV and seeing somebody breaking into your house saying, "Hey, that's my house there."
If anything, the wife will be gone and I'll stay here with my guns and protect everything.
Okay, so let's talk boxing. That's why you're on the show.
Yes,
let's
sir.
talk boxing. I don't know whether you want to. Should we talk about? I don't call it an interview with you anymore. It's just because we talk a lot, so it's not an interview.
Yeah.
It's just a chat. So I don't know whether to start with. Obviously, your recent Facebook posts because they've been very interesting. Yeah.
I'm on a new mission.
Right.
I don't know. I'm in the latter part of my career. My best boxing days are behind me. I pretty much do everything on my own, manage, promote, all that type of stuff. So for me to put all this on the line that I have for the last 15 years of professional, sacrifice time from family, sacrifice, missing my kids' schools, birthdays, graduations, anniversaries, putting all this time in, putting my body on the line, aches and pains and bangs around, and I need surgery on my elbows, my shoulders, and then to go into a fight and have some type of boxing manager and or promoter or something steal money from you is a very personal thing. And boxing is one of the, anybody can literally walk outside, sit on the dotted line, and they're a boxing manager. Now they're a professional boxing manager, and they don't have the first clue about anything regarding the business of boxing. And that's what happens. So recently I've been putting posts out there about managers stealing money from their fighters, matchmakers, promoters stealing money from their fighters. And I had a manager in the past that did that, and I suspected it. But recently, over the last month or two, I've gotten confirmation, even dating as far back as to 2006, when actually the questions of these fights came into question, and I got confirmation. I'm just, 6, 7 years after the fact. So now I'm like, you know what? this guy, certain one individual. It's not even about individualism. It's about boxing as a whole and just the whole criminal element that's involved in boxing. Because actually, what this is criminal. If you're stealing food off my table for my children, that's criminal, and I take it personal. So it's involved in boxing all the time, and you never hear it being brought out into the light. So I found some stuff about a former manager I had, put stuff on Facebook, and it kind of made a lot of waves. So you have all these parts of boxing, you might as well let it all come out. The good, the bad, the ugly.
But you've been threatened as well, haven't you? Via.
Yeah, I mean, but there's one particular person in question. Just that's his MO, that's his style, that's what he does, and he's done it in the past, and he's going to do it in the future. And I'm sure I'm going to get letters from lawyers and getting threatened to sue, and But at the end of the day, there's no slandering going on. It's not making fun of somebody. It's not anything other than facts. Everything that I'm saying, I have paperwork and proof to back it up. So, and the things I'm writing on Facebook, I have many handful of fighters that's writing me back. He did it to them. It's like a Bill Cosby thing. If you have 20 different women coming out saying Bill Cosby drugged them and raped them all, to 20 different fighters saying this man just stole money from me. It's kind of ironic. It's kind of, it is what it is. You made the bed, now lay in it. Don't come after me. I'm the little guy. I'm making $20,000 a fight. You're taking $20,000 off the top, making more money than me, and I'm the one in there getting my face punched off. Is that right? No, absolutely not. So I'm just, I'm not putting my dirty laundry out there. Just, I'm deep in the boxing game, deep in the fight game, and you never see this out there. So I think it's good to have people see every single side of boxing. So that's what I'm doing now. I don't know what the point of it is. I'm just pissed off about it, honestly. So, hey, let's talk about it.
So would you not go down the legal route? What can fighters do in a situation like this then, Jason?
It's hard because honestly, it's not. We're not rich. Us little guys. We don't have a ton of money. We got legal battles and stuff like that. Court hearings can go on for years. You can drag it out with thousands and thousands of dollars. It's not about that. It's just about to say, hey, this is what's going on. This is what I've suspected for years. And now that I have confirmation and proof of it, well, let's put it out there. And this, managers and matchmakers have 15, 20 people sign with them. So if they're getting 15, 20 people fights twice a year and taking $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 off the top, I'm making $40,000 a year. He's making out of 20 fighters over $100,000 a year. Really? We're the one in there battling out. At the end of the day, and if I get an injury, and who's there by my bed protecting me, getting me what I need, my wife, my kids? My manager's not there. My promoter's not there. They just want to know when my body's going to be healed to get back in there and fight so they can make more money off me. That's all it's about. It's about the almighty dollar. So, it's just a frustrating part of the game, and it's a big part of the game that just needs to be exposed. So that's what I've been doing lately, and it is what it is. I'm not, like I said, slandering anybody, making fun of anybody. I'm just putting the facts out there, and people can take it as they want. And obviously, I'm getting threatening emails and texts and phone calls. So obviously, it's hitting some nerves with this certain individual. And it is what it is. Let it play out. Whatever.
So you're even getting telephone calls?
Yeah, I phone calls that I don't answer. I haven't talked to this individual or had any type of dealings with him in over 6 years. Now all of a sudden I post one or two things and he freaks out and my phone's going crazy. My emails are blowing up. So obviously I hit a nerve with him. So
he still owes you money then? Is that the case?
No. It's not about the money. It's absolutely not about the money that he owes me. We have nothing. There's no contracts. There's nothing on paper. We have no connection whatsoever. But it's just a matter of the monies that he's taken from me and other fighters in the past. That's all it comes down to.
So he's taken money from you. So then he has taken money from you then?
Oh, yeah. I've 1,000% taken money from me. And I just found out from, like I said, years and years ago, that it's actually happened. So but there, it is what it is. There was actually an interview article, internet article that I posted, and he got wind of it, and somehow or another got on there and had the interview removed from the internet. But I mean, I might be a fighter, but I'm not a dummy. So I screenshot and saved it all because I had to figure that's what he was going to do, and I still have it. So I put it out there, and people write me back, say, "Yep, that's him. That's him. That's him." So he's freaking out, writing this, writing stuff to me, saying certain things. But it's not in boxing. I'm sure it's in all sports. But boxing's kind of easy. You have your snake coming in, burying his head where he shouldn't be, and then, he burrows his way in. And now that he's years and years into it, who knows how much money he's stolen from people over the years. And it's criminal. He should be arrested. But hey, it is what it is. I'm just putting it out there, and he's freaking out, so I'm doing something right, I guess.
Do you not even feel concerned about your own life doing stuff like that?
No, God, no. The guy's a little weasel. I'd pick him up and body slam him. I wouldn't be considerate about that for a second. But no, it's just all the people see are Saturday night, HBO, Showtime, pay-per-view, the lights, the cameras. They don't see everything that goes on in the background, the day in of a fighter, the days out of a fighter, injuries, managers, sacrificing wife, family, kids, and they only see the whole half-hour fight, but the 10 weeks, 12 weeks of training that leads up to it, people don't see. So these documentaries that HBO shows 24/7, that type of stuff, puts it out there, but this is the actual real ugly part of boxing. People don't expose this. And will I get backlash? Of course. Will this guy blacklist me from getting certain fights? I'm sure he can because he has a lot of connections. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. I'm just saying my piece and just put it out there for people to read. Take it as you want.
So what happens now, Jason Gavern, aside from being your mission now to eradicate the sport of criminals in boxing?
It's never going to happen, by the way.
No, it's not, but, you're going to give it your best shot anyway.
Yeah, I mean, just expose it. It's not going to stop, and this guy's going to continue what he's doing. And I'm sure somebody's going to take money from me again that I'm not going to know about. But I'm just putting that out there. It's going to just at least people open up their eyes and say, hey, this stuff really goes on. Yeah, it goes on.
Well, there was a statement made about Don King. They said Don King takes money off of fighters, but then Don King responded, the people also responded, you get paid more by Don King than any other promoter, so you'll just take a little bit more. How does that work out?
Honestly, if you are my manager and you give me a fight in Germany for $40,000, and you call me and say, hey, Jason, I got a fight for you for $20,000. Okay, so there's $40,000 on the table. You're going to give me $20,000. Okay, I'll take the fight. So we go to Germany, we fight. The promoter meets you sometime during that week, and will give you $20,000. Okay, so now you got $20,000 without taking a punch. I fight for $20,000, and now I have to give you 10, 15, maybe 20% out of my money. So I got to give you, say 10%, I got to give you $2,000 now. So I'm taking home $18,000. You're taking home $22,000. You never took a punch, never trained a day in your life. You're probably sitting home whacking off, watching porn, drinking beer all day long. And I'm in the gym training hours and hours and hours. And you're making double the money, triple the money. Think about doing that for 10, 15 fighters. That's how it works. That's the ugliness of boxing. In 10 years, when I can't lift my arms up because my elbows are killing me, and my back hurts and my knees hurt just from the game, where are you going to be? You're going to be on your boat somewhere in Miami, on your beach house from the money you stole from all your fighters. So yeah.
So it's interesting because I had a conversation today with four-time champion of the world Terry Norris. He was talking about, boxing and boxing clever and not taking too many shots to the brain. And he was talking about the fact that, people should really admire and worship Floyd Mayweather because although that his fights are not exciting, he's going to have a long career. He's going to have a long life outside of boxing because he's looking after himself. And a lot of boxing fans don't understand that. They want to see blood, sweat, and tears, and people getting knocked out and rendered unconscious, which is fine. But it's not them getting rendered unconscious. It's not them taking the blows. And, just something for you to have a think about there. Your thoughts.
It's not a matter of I fight Saturday, and then this coming Friday and Saturday is when I'm sore and I'm bad and I'm stitched up and my eyes swollen shut. It's 5 years on a Saturday, 10 years, 20 years on a Saturday. What's going to happen when I'm laying in bed? And you see these documentaries of fighters from 10, 15, 20 years after they're done fighting. They can't talk. They're slow. When they say a fighter's punchy, it's literally they're punchy. They're just slow. The motor skills, body-wise, is slow. So, humbly, I was blessed with a pretty good defense. I have 51 professional boxing fights. I've been in the ring with every world champion over the last 10 years. And other than aches and pains from training and whatnot, my defense has saved me. I mean, I'm not busted up. I'm pretty sharp. I'm still talking well, and I have all my teeth, and I'm doing all right. But yeah, it's the evil parts of the game, that people don't see 10, 15, 20 years down the road, so, and I'm going to go back again where we were talking about, you were mentioning Don King and Terry Norris, taking monies and whatnot. If you were my manager and you said, I have $40,000 on the table, all right, well, just be upfront with me. You can make whatever money you want on the backside. I understand that, but just don't be a shyster. Don't be a snake and a rat and lie to me about it. That's more, I'm a man, you're a man. We are going to make $1. We are going to make $1. I understand that, but just do it the right way. Do it the fair way. People who do stuff behind other people's back and stab them in the back and that type of stuff, that's just a no-go with me. So that's, yeah.
Okay, without going into too much detail, is it easier to deal with European promoters or dealing with American promoters?
The problem is that promoters don't want to deal with the fighters themselves. Promoters want to deal with A, a matchmaker, B, a manager, somebody else rather than the fighter. So I don't know really what's going on in the background. Matchmakers are all over I have numbers in my phone of 15 different matchmakers. You're the promoter, Sauerland event. You have a fight with Alexander Povetkin. You call up your 15 matchmakers, or you send out a mass email, hey, I need a fighter for Alexander Povetkin. So now every one of those 15 matchmakers now call up fighters that they know. They call up Jason Gavern. They call up anybody and everybody they can think of. Hey, you want the fight? You want the fight? Whichever matchmaker makes and matches that fight is going to get money from me, the fighter, from the promoter, and probably, they might have some back deal. So it's just, for me, overseas is where you want to go because it's the money. I can fight here in the States for $10,000 and fight overseas the same exact fight and get $30,000. So there's a lot of money overseas, but there's a lot of avenues that the drug testing is very laxed over there. You don't know what people are taking, what people are doing, and you go over there and you can beat a fighter and still lose the fight just because it's overseas. Who are you going to argue against? There's no commission over there. If I'm living here in Florida, how am I going to get a hold of the Chinese boxing commission and complain about a fight that I lost? That, there's nothing. Once the fight's over and you leave, it's over. Business is done. So if you're fighting overseas, just make sure you're getting paid. But I'd rather fight overseas myself.
Okay, so it's a couple of questions I'll ask you about that. Now we're sort of going into interview mode now. You've documented yourself that you've gone into fights not being fully prepared. Is that a conscious thing, or is that because it suits the opponent?
It's because it suits the opponent. I'm not saying I'm the best fighter in the world. Not even, obviously, my record says that, but I can shock a lot of top. I can be a top 20 heavyweight easily, I think, because just through my skill set, the way I fight, the way I am. And people know that. So if people say, hey, we're going to give Gavern 8 weeks to get ready for a fight, well, they don't want to do that because you're the promoter. You have Anthony Joshua. You put millions of dollars into him. You don't want Jason Gavern, some journeyman, to come over and beat Anthony Joshua and all your money's down the tubes. All that work you just put into him is gone. So, well, we'll call Jason Gavern a week before the fight. We'll offer him a couple more dollars. We know he's not going to be in shape, so let's do that for him. That's the normality in boxing, you know. So it's my job as the journeyman, as the gatekeeper, to be in the gym 24 hours, 7 days a week. But it's hard to find a motivation to be in boxing shape 24/7. I would like to get a call to say you got 8 weeks, get ready for the fight. Believe me, if they said that, I'd be a beast in that ring. But you got wife, you got family, kids, and school. School's back in session, and so you have a lot of other things on your table.
All right, let's put this into perspective. You've got a week to prepare for a fight, yeah, and it goes the way it goes. What could you offer with 8 weeks training? What would be the difference between a 1 week and 8 weeks? I mean, that sounds obvious to somebody listening to this, but to actually put yourself through the motions of going 8 weeks. When's the last time you had an 8-week training camp?
Oh, Jesus. 5-6 years?
Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, I've done fairly well in some of my fights.
I mean, you went 12, was it 10 or 12 rounds with Joe Washington?
8 rounds. That was an 8-round fight.
Boy, okay, you went 8 rounds with Joe Washington, and he's one of the top guys been ranked up there, isn't he?
I had 10 days, literally 10 days to train for that fight. I flew out to California, 6-hour flight, 3-hour time change. I went there on a Wednesday, I fought him on a Saturday. So that was really fast, really quick turnover. And yeah, I went 8 hard rounds with him. So just right there. I mean, this guy is 6'7", knocking everybody out. I went 8 rounds with him. He dropped me. I got up, and we fought. But if I had an 8-week training camp, oh, man, you're talking mentally. Mentally alone, boxing is a huge, huge mental sport. So let me get into camp and get in fight mode, beast mode. You got a fight on your hands.
Would it be in your best interest to do one of these Jason Gavern march to the heavyweight title? You're going to take 8 weeks to spend to train for each fight and see if you could go for a serious challenge for the title. Is that something that would benefit you, or is it better being in inverted commas journeyman mode?
It would benefit me if I had a promoter who would do that. But who's going to look after me? If Eddie Hearn isn't going to call me and say, you have 8 weeks to get ready for a fight, Don King or Al Heyman isn't going to call Jason Gavern, the journeyman, and say, hey, 8 weeks, get ready for a fight. Would I love that? Absolutely, I would love that. I would love the necessity of having 8 weeks for a fight. But I got to work. I got to pay bills. I got family to feed. I got to do stuff. So
let me turn it the other way around to you, Jason. If you are coming in with a week's notice, is there a script already written there, as if to say, well, you know what, Jason, he only got a week. You know what the script is. The underlying unspoken words. You know what the script is. You'll make the fall over. Give it a good shot, but don't give it too much of a good shot because we want our boy to move forward. You're not
right.
part of that script. And if you want any more fights, you won't upset our script.
That is absolutely not the case. Absolutely not the case. I try to knock Anthony Joshua out. I try to knock Deontay Wilder out. I try to knock Gerald Washington out. But these guys are in camp 8-10 weeks, sparring, money. I mean, they're there in London. I got to get on a plane Monday, fly to London, land Tuesday night, don't sleep, get up Wednesday, do medicals, press conferences. So there's a little bit of...
Okay, talk us through that. Let's talk us through that process, because that's an interesting process, even that. So when did you get the call to fight Joshua?
Sunday night, probably about 8 o'clock at night.
Sunday night. So when were you? So what happens then? Sunday night, you get the call. Talk us through it.
I come in the house. I tell my wife, "Hey, baby, I'm leaving for London. When are you leaving?" About 6 hours. She's like, "Really?" So I literally go in my attic, get a suitcase, pack my bags. Get on a plane, fly up to London Monday. So 10 hour plane ride. You got to get there, do medicals, get picked up, drive to the hotel. They give you a few hours to rest. Okay, Jake, Gavern, wake up. We got to go do medicals. Now, they plan medicals 3 hours away. So you got to get in a car, drive 3 hours, and I think they plan that stuff. Drive 3 hours to get the medicals done on a few hours sleep. You're there 8 hours, drive 3 hours back home in traffic. Now it takes you 5 hours to get home. It's 10 o'clock at night, Tuesday night. Wednesday morning, you got to be on a train 7 in the morning. You have a 7-hour train ride to get to Newcastle from London. Really? And then when you land Wednesday, you got press conference Wednesday night. You can sleep Thursday, Friday, you fight Saturday. I'm like, come on, man. What do you expect? But that's the role of a journeyman fighter. Let's give him your best shot. Let's give it a go. So, what do you do? I mean, I've said this 100 times. Boxing's about opportunity. What happens if I landed that right hand and even just dropped Joshua? Oh my God, Gavern's a hero. You know what I mean? Like, Joshua's a front. He's not the real deal. But it is what it is. That's how the business works. At this point in my career, I'm 38. I'm not going to be a heavyweight champ of the world. Let's make a couple dollars. And that's what it's about. So let's fight. I'm in better shape now than I have been in my last 2 years. I was supposed to fight September 5th at the Hard Rock. Shannon Briggs is fighting. And I was going to fight on the undercard. I've actually was in camp with Shannon, sparring with him, and I got an injury. I had to pull out the card, so I'm not going to fight now because of my injury. I can probably suck it up and try it, but in the long run, it won't be beneficial. So I'm just going to pull out the card, bow out, and just wait to see what comes up next.
Sparring with Shannon Briggs. Answer me this question.
He's a good fighter. Let me say that. Sorry.
Shannon Briggs, I always see him on Instagram training.
Yep.
But no fight. But training.
Right.
I'm training. No fight.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the Instagram boxing training.
Yeah. Twitter. He's always on Twitter.
Yeah.
Let's go, Shannon.
I've spoken to him. Nice guy. But training.
Yeah.
But no fight. What's all that about? Can you bring some light to me on that?
Yeah, I don't know his story. I don't know his backstory. I don't know who his manager is. I don't know any of that. He has fought probably about 4 or 5 times in the past year or so, and he's pretty much fought nobodies, so he gets all wins. He fought one guy, and I think it took him 10 or 12 rounds. He got the W, but yeah, Shannon's. You see this stuff he's pulling with Klitschko and trying to get that fight with him. That crazy stuff might work. Who else is out there for Klitschko to fight? He might actually get that fight, So, but I will say Shannon is in tremendous shape. I think he's 47, something like that, 48, 49. The guy can fight, man.
There are some questions about the Shannon Briggs physique. Let's put it this way.
Right.
Boxing fans always put an eye up and go,
He is shredded. Jesus.
Yeah. So,
stat.
It's like, and that's all the questions, all the time. Could you tell if somebody was on it and wasn't on it? Can you tell the difference?
I can tell the difference when I take my shirt off and I have not even a 6-pack. I have like a keg. So I know definitely I'm not on it, whatever. But
what would you be like? What would you be like if you were on it, for example? What would be the difference?
I have absolutely no idea because I have no idea.
Okay.
I need every inch I can get. Anyways, that's a whole nother story. But I don't know. You see these top guys, even MMA as of late has been just overtaken by a steroid abuse and so overseas. Pretty much, if you're not fighting for a title, you're not going to get tested. That's how it works. And if you do get tested, it's going to be a little pee test, and they put a little strip in the cup where they see if you're smoking weed or, snorting crack or whatever. But they're not going to test all the heavy stuff. So fighters know this. We go overseas. I fought guys overseas, and you just take a look at them. You're like, there's no possible way. These guys are – and when they hit you, they hit like a truck, like they have a brick in their glove. So you don't know what's going on over there. So, I don't know. I can't say whether he is or he's not. I mean, when you look at him, does it look at it, whatever. So
Leave
I,
it for.
I wish I looked like him. I'll say that.
Yeah. What
I
about you?
wish.
Do you wish you sounded like him?
Oh no. It's kind of over the top. The whole "Let's Go Champ" thing. You know what? Super, super tremendous guy. I've only got to know him recently, and
What
my
about Jason Gavern, Shannon Briggs? Woo! Versus Let's Go Champ.
that would be a great fight. And he's fighting a guy by the name of Mike Marone, September 5th. I was actually sparring with Mike Marone in Orlando for 2 or 3 weeks,
Okay.
and I got a call from Shannon. Hey, want to come down spar me? And they were paying me, so I packed up my car, went down spar with Shannon. So I got to work with both of these guys.
What's
yeah,
Mike Marone like?
Mike Marone's a good guy. Boxing's full of great, wonderful people. There's only a handful of people I've ever had an issue with. Mike Marone's a great guy, works hard. He had his beginnings with the Duvas. He's getting up there too. I think he's 27, 28 years old. But he's in good shape. He's ready for the fight. I think it's going to be a great fight. I'm going to be there ringside watching the fight. So I'm excited for it. Definitely, it's going to be a good fight.
Fantastic. Now let's talk about heavyweight boxing, which I know you'll be an expert in knowing about who does what and who's doing where. This is an interesting one. Dominic Quinn.
Dominic Gwynn, the Southern Disaster.
Well, Southern Disaster. Is he coming to England to walk into a disaster, or is he in good shape?
He's fighting, he's fighting White? Is that true?
Dillian White. Yes. What sort of shape?
Man.
What sort of shape is he in?
I have no idea. I was in camp with Deontay Wilder, and Dominic was there. We know each other well. I would definitely consider him a friend, but I have no idea what shape he's in. When is the fight? Coming up soon? Like next week, the 12th?
12th, yeah, 12th of September.
I have been trying to get that fight with Dillian White now for a couple of weeks. We've been having a little Twitter war going on. It would have been a great a fight for the fans, number one, the UK fan, but it would have been a good guide. I fought Anthony Joshua. He stopped me in the 3rd round. It would have been a good guide for me to fight Dillian White to let the UK fans know how Dillian White going to do, how's Anthony Joshua going to do. I tried to make that fight, and it just didn't come about. So, I wish Dominic Gwynn nothing but the best. I hope he's in shape, and it's a good opportunity, great opportunity. If he beats...
Have you seen Dillian White fight?
I saw his last fight against, I'm not even sure who the guy was.
Costa, I think it was.
But I wasn't impressed, I'll say that. I think I give him a run for his money. I know he beat Anthony Joshua in the amateurs, so he has that coming into this fight. But I think the amateur is a whole different world than pro. Anthony Joshua has a tremendous... Let me ask you this. What happened with Dillian White? I know he was suspended for a couple years.
Yes.
Was that because of steroids, or you have any idea why?
I think he used a drug which was banned, but I don't know the ins and outs completely of it. But he got banned. I think he was more of a case of him taking the wrong thing rather than him deliberately.
Right. Oh, okay.
And then after that he injured his. I think then his trainer got run over or something like that, and then he had his hand injury and.
Yeah.
But
ultimately, the collision course is going to be Joshua and Dillian White. That's the whole point of this whole, Eddie Hearn matchroom boxing. That's in the works. So obviously, Eddie Hearn, the matchroom, wants Dillian White to win because in the latter part of the year, they want that fight to happen. It's going to be a big seller, big TV thing over in the UK. So that's what they're looking for. So. We'll see what Dominic Gwynn does. Hopefully he brings something to the table.
Do you see Dominic Gwynn being a banana skin for Dillian White? Or do you think he just gets rid of him?
I really don't know. Dominic Gwynn over the last few years is he's pretty much fallen into the same mode as the journeyman, the opponent role. Back in the day, he was it. He was knocking everybody out. Michael Grant, Duncan Warrior, he's beating all these guys. Now he fights very sporadically, but he's still a great fighter. He's a really good fighter. He looked great in camp with Deontay Wilder, actually giving Deontay some problems. And it all depends on as long as he's in shape, but not in it's hard to get in shape at all 10 days notice. So hopefully he's been doing something in the gym. And I know he lives in Vegas and he's at the gym a lot. So we'll see.
Are you in good contact with Dominic Gwynn?
We talk on Facebook here and there, but I haven't talked to him as of recently.
So in terms of punch power, is he a genuine knockout puncher at heavyweight, or is he just a?
I mean, a heavyweight's a heavyweight. A heavyweight can punch. He's about 6'3", probably 235, 240. And you've seen back in the day when he was knocking people out. He was knocking people out. He knocked Michael Grant out cold. So, I mean, you might gain a little weight, get a little older, but you're always gonna have that power. So that's one thing about a heavyweight is you always have that power. Look at George Foreman when he came back. So he was, how old is he when he knocked out Michael Moore? So he still had his power. So it's not going to go away. I think Dominic Gwynn is a pretty good shot.
Okay. You've got Anthony Joshua who fights Gary Cornish. Do you know anything about Gary Cornish?
I do not. I've looked him up on BoxRec and looked at his record, but I think it's just a stay busy fight. You don't want Anthony Joshua sitting around getting too stale. And Dylan White is staying active because when they meet up, Dylan White might have the advantage. So Eddie Hearn wants to keep him busy, keep him winning, keep his confidence up, and they want to set that fight up. So are they fighting the same card?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a good fight because they know that's the collision course. They both know Dylan White and Anthony Joshua, they have to win that fight.
Yes.
They got to try to do their best not to come out injured, so they can fight later this year.
Could Dominic Gwynn have been training behind the scenes, behind closed doors, and they're just pulling this Dominic Gwynn thing out in the last moment just to try and maybe derail Dillian White? And they don't really want the Dillian White Joshua fight to happen, or do you think it's just the fact that it's...
No. It's about the money. Whether Dillian White is liked or not, it's going to sell a ton of tickets. It's great for TV. It's great for UK boxing. So that's what Eddie Hearn wants. Why would he want Dominic Gwynn, the unknown Dominic Gwynn, to come into this fight and derail all that work he's put into it?
But then at the same time, he may want that. So Anthony Joshua doesn't have to fight Dillian White. That's another way of looking at it.
No, Anthony Joshua wants this fight. He wants to avenge his one loss in the amateurs, which is Anthony Joshua's 100 times fighter he was today than he was when he fought Dillian White. So no, they don't want that to happen. They just want that fight to come through because that's the money fight for everybody. For Matchroom, for all the UK fans are looking for that fight. They don't want to derail that fight.
Okay, Deontay Wilder. We talked a lot about Deontay Wilder, the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. Fights a guy. Listen, you've probably got more knowledge in the heavyweight division than I have, for obvious reasons, but his opponent...
I don't know this guy. I don't know
this guy.
I'm serious.
Well, if you don't know him, I don't know him, and you don't know him, and you know everyone in heavyweight boxing. You don't know this guy.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you his name. I know he's a French guy. That's all. He's a French champion.
Duparis?
Yeah, that's his name. Now that you said it. But I have no idea. I don't think I've ever seen him fight. I'd have to even see a picture of him to recognize him. He might walk by me on the street and I wouldn't even know who he was. But hey, at the end of the day, Deontay is trying to make that money. Heyman's doing it for him, so, I mean, hey, whatever. It is what it is.
Bermain Savard, who he beat for the title, turns around and says that Deontay Wilder turns the heavyweight division upside down and then starts counting and picking opponents that way.
Right. Well, I mean, if I'm the champion, I want to beat top 10 guys. I want to fight these guys. I don't want to fight nobodies. His last fight against Eric Molina, he looked very unimpressive, that fight. That's the first fight, his first defense in Alabama. So I'm sure that all that had him all hyped up, but he looked real bad his last fight. So I think after this fight, he should be fighting Alexander Povetkin. And Povetkin ain't no joke, man. That guy's a beast. So Deontay Wilder has a lot of work to do, and that's why they're giving him these fights. He's still learning. He's 32-0 heavyweight champion of the world, but he's still learning. He makes a lot of mistakes in the ring.
One of the first things I can't understand, he can't block a left jab. He's still putting his head straight back, and he can't block a left jab.
Yeah, he got hit a lot his last fight against Molina. You know,
I can't work out how Molina was able to rock him that way, and Bermain Stavern, who is notedly a bigger puncher than Molina, couldn't do that.
Styles make fights. Stavern, I thought, Wilder looked pretty good against Stavern. I think he looked really good against Stavern. I was shocked at how good he looked. Against Molina, Molina got to him and he didn't look so good.
He got hit on the chin. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was an actual shot. Yeah, he rocked him. Yeah, and I remember jumping up off the couch. Even my wife, me and my wife are big boxing fans. We watch all the fights. Yeah. We were jumping up. Oh my God! Oh man, it was an exciting fight. It was a really good fight. Molina had a pretty good run and made himself look good in that fight.
Wow. Who else? Of course, Vladimir Klitschko defends his title against
Tyson
Fury.
Yes, I'm excited. That's coming up.
Yes, it's October 24th, I believe, or 27th, something like that.
Yeah. Well, there's still a lot of time. There's a lot of time left, so hope everything works out okay. I'm excited. It's going to be a good fight. I'm giving Tyson Fury a pretty good shot here. He's a pretty good chance.
What does Tyson bring to the fight, from what you know of him?
Tyson is a tremendous boxer. I was in camp with him, and he switches up from righty to lefty very well. I saw an interview where they were talking about they're working on his foot movement, working around the ring. He fought the second fight with Derek Chisora. The whole fight was lefty. I was in camp with him that fight, and that's what they worked on. And he looked really good against Chisora. Chisora didn't even touch him, really. It was kind of easy win for Fury. But I think foot movement doesn't win you the fight. Punching wins you the fight. You know what I mean? Defense wins you the fight. Foot movement can work and set up the punches, but it's going to be a good, exciting fight. I got to give it to Klitschko in the later rounds. I think Fury's going to do well in the beginning, and Klitschko's going to set up traps and do what he's got to do to set him up. And I think Klitschko's going to win in the later rounds. But I'm definitely going to be tuning into the fight. I think they're showing the fight here. ESPN's going to show the fight here in the States.
I think it's HBO, actually.
Oh, it's even better. It's going to be exciting.
Does Fury have the power to knock Klitschko out?
No. Fury punches very well in combination. Speed is power. So if he can get off 3-4 shots against Klitschko, but Klitschko's not one to just stand in front of you. He's moving all the time. He looked bad against his last fight with Brian Jennings. I didn't think he looked pretty good at all. But then he fought the guy from Bulgaria a few fights back and looked tremendous. Pulev looked fabulous that fight. I thought he did.
It was movement. It was the movement that was putting Klitschko off with Jennings.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean, Jennings is 6'2", 6'3". What are you going to do with the guy 6'8", 6'7", 6'8" is moving the same way? And jabbing and popping and moving and slipping, righty, lefty. So I think he can have some trouble. Fury's a pretty good fighter. He's a legit top-5 fighter.
How does the battle of the jabs work out here?
Klitschko has the best jab in heavyweight division. Klitschko's jab is like 75% of heavyweight's right hand. It comes straight, fast, hits your target, and you feel it in your shoes. I was at camp with him. He came out, threw a couple jabs, pawn. He threw that one jab, and I was like, holy Jesus. Don't get hit with that thing anymore. Your eyes water, your nose is running, you get a little bloody nose, and you're like, okay. But, Klitschko has the best jab. But he's straightforward. He doesn't move and slip. And Fury slips and moves, and he's almost like Larry Holmes style, where he moves around the ring, moves side to side, flicking his jab, moving, slipping, planting, turning out. So I think Fury's not going to stand in front of him. Klitschko wants that, but that's not the Fury's going to come to the fight. I think Klitschko's going to have a lot of trouble in camp getting right-handed 6'8" guys and left-handed 6'8" guys because Klitschko's not fighting him righty or lefty. He's going to be switching the whole fight. I think that might give Klitschko a lot of trouble. So it's going to be a very intriguing fight because against all the guys who Klitschko's fought, this is probably the most excited I've been for a heavyweight fight.
Another guy that you may or may not know, King Kong, Luis Ortiz.
Luis Ortiz, he's just coming back off suspension also, isn't he?
Yes.
He was taking diuretics or something.
Was he?
He knocked out the cruiserweight.
Coyote.
Yeah, yes. But he was only off for a few months. Normally these guys are off for years, a couple years, and he was only off for a few months. He's back. But he just fought. I think he fought once already. He won, and he's fighting.
Bermain Stavern. That's the plan.
Stavern, yeah. I'm surprised they haven't called me in for sparring, but I got to give it to Ortiz is a great fighter. He's a southpaw Cuban fighter, a lot of experience, moves really well. If Stavern fought like against Ortiz like he did against Wilder, he's going to be in trouble. So this fight against Stavern could put Ortiz right back in the mix again. So
if Stavern turns up like Stavern that
Stavern against Areola.
Yes, that's Stavern.
He'll beat Ortiz. But Ortiz is a southpaw, so now it's a whole different game. Forget the guy who came in against Areola because you got to fight a whole different way. He's a southpaw. So if he comes in like he did against Areola, he gets knocked out.
Who gets knocked out?
Stavern gets knocked out. Only because Ortiz is a southpaw. You know what I'm saying? You got to change up your style for that southpaw. And it's hard to find southpaws with that movement. It's going to be hard for even Stavern to get sparring to get him ready for that fight because Ortiz is so good.
What about Mike Perez? Would he make a good sparring partner?
Yeah, but Mike Perez is above that. He won't come down and spar unless they're giving him $4 or $5 grand a week. But no, I don't see that happening. Well, he's a Cuban fighter.
There you go.
But no, he's a Cuban fighter, so he's not going to go and spar with Stavern against his Cuban buddy Ortiz. I'm sure they know each other.
That's true, isn't it?
He won't do that with them. But that would be perfect sparring. But it wouldn't happen. It won't do that.
Okay, just before we come to the end of this conversation we have, let's talk a little bit about Sugar Shea Mosley. I know you don't do the lower weight division, but you know Sugar Shea Mosley, you know right. Mayorga. They're two colourful characters. What are your thoughts about? Did you see the video with his girlfriend bending over and Mayorga having a once look at her ass, having a twice look, and then slapping it? I mean, then saying it was all planned.
She just happened to be standing that close to him, bent over like that. And first of all, if Mayorga ever touched my wife like that, the fight wouldn't even happen because he'd get knocked out before the fight even happened. Yeah. I mean, but anyways, it's all staged, it's all set up. Mayorga's done, Mosley's done. I really don't know what even the point of the fight is. I think they're actually having it on pay-per-view too. If that's the case, who's going to buy the fight? Nobody's interested. It's just, I don't know. It's actually.
They should call the fight Who's More Done?
Who's More Done? They have Sean Porter's father is training Mosley. I saw a video of Sean Porter sparring with Shane Mosley. Shane still has it. I mean, you can be a little older. Shane still, he can be a top 20 in his weight class. He's a really good fighter. Definitely better than Mayorga. That's just a bad fight all around. Nobody wants to see that fight.
But what happens?
I say Mosley beats him decision. For how much everything's been staged, I wouldn't be surprised if something crazy happens with the fight and they stage that and it comes out to be a draw or something crazy happens like that. So who knows? I'm not even interested, honestly. It's not. It was 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Yeah, I'd be interested. Mayorga, even for his crazy ways, was a good fighter, exciting fighter. When he fought Vernon Forrest, beat him twice, tremendous fighter. So they're both good fighters back in the day, but they keep it back in the day. Don't bring it back out of the closet.
Okay, is there anything else you think I've probably missed out in terms of heavyweight boxing?
James Toney just lost last week.
What?
You see that?
No.
James Toney just fought a guy named I think his last name was Ellis. The guy was like 10-7. They called me for that fight for a rematch. The fight was in like one of these middle southern or one of the mid-Atlantic states. I'm not even sure where, Missouri or somewhere like that. But they called me for that fight, and I'm like, no, what's the point of fighting James again? Pointless. I kind of wish I took that fight. The money wasn't great. It was a 10-round fight. I would have beat James easily. I probably would have shut him out. But this guy beat him. I guess he shut him out the first 6 rounds on all the judges' scorecards. And James lost again, so he's done. But he wants to fight again, Klitschko. He says, I want to fight the Bitchkos. I'm like, shut up, Jesus.
Okay, what about there's one guy I'm just thinking about you. Should have mentioned before we close. Lucas Brown.
Lucas Brown, yeah.
Jason Gavern.
I've already fought him.
What happened?
I fought. He stopped me in the third round. I flew to China, Hong Kong on 3 days' notice. True story. Ricky Hatt promotes him. I got a call from a matchmaker. They said, you want to come to Hong Kong? I'm like, yeah, well, let's go. But I made a deal where I stayed a week after the fight, little mini vacation. So that's the only reason why I took the fight, or else I would have taken it. The money wasn't the best. I should have probably got paid double. And he stopped me in like the third round. I was still on an airplane when I was in the ring fighting. I wasn't even there in the fight. It was like a 20-some-hour flight. So, yeah, that's another story of the journeyman fighter, how that happens. But
from what you gauged,
Lucas Brown can fight.
He can fight.
Yeah, he's a good fighter. He's big. He's a power puncher. Not the best boxer, but he's a power puncher. So.
How would he do against Shagayev, which is everyone's pushed him to fight?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's Lucas Brown. You got to give Lucas Brown the nod. He's a young guy. He's hungry. Shagayev has been there. But Shagayev's a southpaw. So again, anybody who fights any southpaw, especially, is going to have a lot of trouble.
Shagayev just knocked out Pianetta in a round.
Yeah, that was, he stopped him pretty bad, too. Pianetta was cold. He came out cold. There was I saw the fight. He wasn't sweated up at all. I think Pianetta was trying to warm up, but when you get caught with that straight overhand left, lights out. So I think it's about the money. It's going to be over there, wherever he's going to fight. I'm sure it's going to be, Russia or what, but they'll make a lot of money, and that's what it comes down to, is all about the dollars.
Did you see?
But I give the nod to Lucas Brown.
Did you see what happened to Manuel Shah, by the way?
To who?
Manuel Shah.
He just got knocked out.
In one round?
He got knocked out bad. I just saw it the other day. He was coming in and got hit with the overhand left. Knocked him out. Fade first, like he did a Pacquiao in the corner. Exactly what he did. He did a Pacquiao. Yeah, that's right. Yes, real bad. Yeah.
That's some bad knockouts.
You ever hear of what the status is on, and I was looking for this the other day, on Dennis Boystoff? I know he got jumped real bad by some guys. They broke his hands, broke his jaw. He was in the hospital for a while.
Yes.
Details about that or status?
I don't. All I heard is that he got badly beat up. That's what I heard.
Yeah. Yeah, because he was with that Universum, and they went out of business, and they mob or whatever, the Russian mob, I guess, went after him and dragged him down a train tunnel and beat him up and left him for dead somewhere, and they found him. So, wow. Yeah, kind of crazy. But, yeah, the joys, the good, the bad, the ugly of boxing. That's how it works.
Jason Gavern, thank you so much for talking to Bayloric TV. We really love talking to you. And congratulations for being a part of the Bayloric network now. Going to be our regular boxing analyst or pundit on our weekly boxing show.
Yeah, I absolutely appreciate the opportunity. It's a pleasure to be on with you guys, getting to talk boxing. Boxing I love. So whenever I get a chance to talk about it, I probably talk too much, but it's always fun. It's always a good time, and I really appreciate you allowing me to come on the show.
Jason Gavern, thank you so much for talking to Bayloric TV.
All right. Ciao, sir. Have a good one, man. Good night.